here's a lovely fact for you. In Seth Rollins' last 8 televised matches, 7 have ended without a finish, and the other one did have a finish, but it was Seth Rollins using a forklift to bury another man under it. And I don't even know if that counts as an official pinfall. And also, surely that means the forklift is now the number 1 contender for the Universal Championship, or if not, the forklift driver. The real question is, are you even bothered? Do you even care? Because the sheer craziness that has happened to Mr. Rollins after his awesome victory against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 35 to become the champ has been interesting to say the least. And now we're getting these stats that seem to suggest that WWE ain't really pushing Seth Rollins in the right direction. Or you could even say that WWE are making a huge mistake. Why? That wasn't real slow motion. That was like my own slow motion. In hindsight, I probably should have used the editing tools we had to do it in slow-mo. Here's why. To start off, a shout out to Sean Ross Sapp for figuring that statistic out, but it is yet more information that makes you question what is going on at Titan Towers when it does come to one Seth Rollins. Not only is he not being treated like a champion, and let's just return to the whole, well, that would never happen to Stone Cold Steve Austin, would it? And that is true, but he also burned down the Firefly Funhouse, something the fans loved, then admitted he knew that Bray Wyatt would rebuild his Firefly Funhouse, which means he only did it to be a giant asshole. Then there is Twitter, but let's not focus on that right now. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, you're better off for it. I will say any vitriol sent his way is too much. There is a way to criticize somebody on the internet without absolutely dragging them along the coals, but that is just the social media world that we live in. And if you do keep prodding the bear, and my gosh, there's been a lot of prodding, that bear is going to get up and he's going to bite your head off. That's what bears do. We all have a voice nowadays, and you are allowed to use that in any way you see fit, even if that is going on Seth Rollins' timeline and just tweeting a bunch of expletives and emojis. And believe you me, I've seen it. That crying one and the angry one, the finger one, they're all there. The real flabbergasting nature with all of this is that when we actually did get to Crown Jewel, Seth Rollins lost the Universal Championship to the Fiend Bray Wyatt. And that's how you must say his name at all times. It's not Bray Wyatt, it's not the Fiend, it's the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Now, before we get into this, I am 100% behind that decision, I should say, and WWE did the right thing. And when you do that, I don't even mind when you make a mistake. We all drop the ball here and there, but it's about picking it back up and kicking it into the goal, or in this case, throwing the Universal Championships at the Fiend Bray Wyatt. But don't forget what we're talking about today. Not only has it completely ruined the curb stop as a finisher, I'm pretty sure I kicked out of that in my sleep last night. I got out of bed, there was Seth Rollins' curb stop, man. I just went, dude, I ain't even going to lay down for that for a one. Come on now, what are you talking about? It was another L in that column, the lost column, for one Seth Rollins, the man that burned stuff down. And yes, I know it was the only move that we can make, but it leaves this guy in a really weird position, especially if, let's just say, he wins that championship, he wins that title back in a month. That is just going to make the fans hate him even more. So he's now in this position where he's literally trying to dodge hate bullets. And if you've ever been there, it is not a nice place to be. Hate bullets not only hurt, but they hurt here, in the heart area. Going back to that nonsense with the Hell in a Cell, it was made worse. Well, it was made worse for 2 reasons. One, we found out that a way to stop a Hell in a Cell match is you lay somebody on the floor and you put a ladder on them, then you put tools on their face and you smash them with a hammer. And we never knew that until 2019, but it's good to know. But when you go back 12 months and remember that non-finish between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, well, it just leaves us going, what the hell? And now that we have brought the big dog up, it was kind of him that started all of this in motion. Because when he tragically announced that he had to step away from the WWE to deal with things that were far more important, the kind of smallest silver lining was a bunch of fans that went, wait, that is terrible, and we hope Roman Reigns is going to be okay. But maybe this means WWE will now get behind Seth Rollins properly, and he can finally have his due at the top of the company. And they did do that, but then they seemed to do it all wrong. There were hints of this as well when we did start off on this path, because it seemed like all we were going to do is put Seth in really long matches like that 1 hour plus gauntlet thing they did on Raw, but he was never going to win. If your brain is escaping you right now, go and get it and put it back in there because you're going to die. But he got knocked out of that when he was beaten by Elias. I mean, that's not really what you do with someone that you're shining a spotlight on and screaming, this is our guy, this is the man, woo! And don't get me wrong, Rollins was great in that, but we didn't capitalize on that, so next week everybody had forgotten, which was also the case a few months later when we had Extreme Rules 2018, where it was Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins in a 30-minute Iron Man match. There it is again. Let's go for longevity. And once again, Seth Rollins lost. And during that, fans got so checked out, they started chanting along to the scoreboard clock to the point it annoyed WWE that they just turned the clock off. That is not the thing I should be remembering from that fight. And yeah, they're not big deals by themselves, but they do all start to add up. Massage hands. And you want some more of these? Well, that's fine too, because there's also the fact that his Universal title run after WrestleMania 35 only went through one feud, and that was against AJ Styles, before he dropped the belt back to the Beast. And then, of course, WWE got obsessed with letting us know that Becky Lynch, and Seth Rollins were a real-life couple, and therefore they were going to have to be a couple on television. I don't get why we had to do this, because all parties were doing fine by themselves, but seeing Rollins and Becky team up to take on Baron Corbin, or Tawley Baldy, and Lacey Evans just cooled everybody off. And that was stamped into the ground when, as soon as that match was over and done with, we just stopped talking about it and never got an explanation as to why they'd all moved away from each other. And again, that fight was pretty good, or at least it was much better than most of us expected, but who did it help when all was said and done? What really was happening during all of this is that he was being John Cena'd or Roman Reigns. For whatever reason, in 2019, if you are WWE's golden boy, you will be crapped all over. But he also had his own Daniel Bryan, if we go back to the Roman Reigns situation, which was Bray Wyatt. It was The Fiend, a cool character we all wanted to get behind, but the powers that be said, well, no, don't worry about that, Seth. Go out and destroy it, and we'll deal with the consequences after. The consequences now are that every time Seth Rollins pops up on Raw, somebody or a lot of people go, boo, boo, you suck. It was the Royal Rumble 2015 all over again, and somewhat coincidentally, we also had another dude that had long hair and a beard. I mean, Drew McIntyre, he's got to be terrified. Elias and Adam Cole probably can't even sleep at night. We could all see that this was going down as well, so I can't fathom why management didn't go, well, let's at least give him some wins, and then he can come across like a proper champion. But we didn't do that. We went in the complete opposite direction. So if you say to me now, well, Simon, what do you think the plan was? I just shrug my shoulders and go, I have absolutely no clue. This leaves us all to ponder where Rollins is going to go next. It just seems so unfair that I have done a 10-minute plus video about the man and we haven't really talked about what a good worker he is, because he is one of the best workers in the world. I don't think you can dispute that. He's brilliant. But with Crown Jewel done and dusted and Seth Rollins now being open to head in a new direction, surely that's what we need to do, and we need to refresh the character. We need to give him some new bells, and we need to give him some new whistles. Hell, dress him like a Christmas tree for all I care. We also shouldn't overlook how loyal the Beast Slayer has been to the company. Like, he's done it all. He's been mid-carder tag team champion. He's sat on top of the world. So maybe we should look at that loyalty and start passing some of it back to him. I can't even fathom what he's going to do at Survivor Series. If he gets in the way of the apparent Adam Cole versus The Fiend versus Brock Lesnar match, apparently we're going to get that. If Seth Rollins is the dude to stop it, again, people are just going to want to punch him in the face. So let's take our time, let's breathe, and let's come up with a good plan for that dude. And that's not to say he's been booked badly. I get it, he's the top guy on Raw, and you've got people like Mojo Rawley who are still coming out on main event with blue face paint, and yet nobody will tell me why he has blue face paint. It's all about context. And it all depends where you are on the card. He is at the top, he is smashing through ceilings, so treat him like that. Again, I don't think he's going to become the next Steve Austin or The Rock, but we could be doing a damn better job than we are doing now. That's just how I feel about it. If I could, I'd walk off. Mic drop. So in short, we could throw him an extra bone, and I think that is all summed up by the statistic that I gave at the start of this video. 7 matches and not one finish. And of course, one of those saw the internet wrestling community melt down. And some even said, I'm cancelling the network, even though they then re-signed up to the network, because they can't live without the WWE. Because without the WWE, who are they going to insult on a daily basis? Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about Seth Rollins, what you think about The Fiend, what you thought about Hell in a Cell, and where you think we go in the future. I mean, answer me this, riddle me this. Is Seth Rollins the new Roman Reigns? And is that even a bad thing? Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. And hell, go follow Seth Rollins as well. It's kind of entertaining. And watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. Don't know. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. This was the Why series, where I present you a statement and ask why. And just to reiterate, because I know what the internet does, I think Seth Rollins is a great professional wrestler, but I think WWE's interpretation of him to this point is not doing him justice, especially because he is meant to be someone that we rally around. And right now, WWE, you're not giving me much leverage to rally around Seth Rollins. You don't even have to give him a championship at this point if you don't want to. Look what you've done with Roman Reigns. I actually think the treatment and the positioning of Roman Reigns over the last few months has been brilliant, to the point that when he does start to make his way back up the card, which he will, I won't mind. I'll be like, yeah, people love Roman. He's considered, an important star. If that's where he's going to be now, that's where he's going to be. As long as we don't do Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns again at WrestleMania 36. If that happens, I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to rip my eyeballs out, I'm going to throw them on the floor, I'm going to stamp on them, because that way I win. I'll never be able to watch that match. True, I'll never be able to do a lot of other things either, but that is how much I don't want to see it. And on that very, very weird note, thanks for watching. I'll see you when I see you.